Welcome to the Wheel Route Fantasy Football Show stream. I am actually streaming this time. We did an NFFC draft last night and an FFPC draft yesterday. I did the FFPC one live. You can go check out that. It was my first FFPC Best Ball draft of the year. This will be my second. I've been doing quite a few NFFC drafts. The one I recorded last night probably be out tomorrow. I will be. I'll also be recording a redraft stream probably tonight, and I'll probably post it tomorrow or Tuesday. Was hoping Brock Bowers might fall to me here. I'm going to end up with Christian McCaffrey again. Not that it's a bad thing, but I'm seriously considering going with Trey McBride as well. I'm a chicken, and I went with Christian McCaffrey again. Not that it's a bad thing. I think, if Christian McCaffrey is 90% of what he was, he should get 100% of the production. Let me just do something here real quick. I like to have a little bit of background music because it can get a little bit monotonous, and it should be low enough in the background that it's not distracting either. Okie dokie. So we see a pretty normal start. Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Brock Bowers. I took Christian McCaffrey. That might be ahead of where other people are taking him, but traditional Christian McCaffrey is immensely better than the field. So why the heck is this not working right? Probably have to close that out. Open it back up. I might just do that. Oh, you know what? I'm showing you yesterday's draft. And here is today's draft. Hope you got a good look at that. It was worth looking at. I will be bouncing back and forth between yesterday and today's draft boards. Sorry, just doing some logistical things. Thought I had everything set up. There we go. Should have on this. Yeah. All right. So today's draft starts out close to the same as yesterday's. The only difference in the first 5 picks were I picked from the 4 hole, and today's from the 5 hole. Wow. All right. So Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Brock Bowers, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey. Then Justin Jefferson goes, Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, and then, surprise, George Kittle. George Kittle does not benefit as much from 1.5 PPR as McBride and Bowers do. I'm not quite sure. I definitely wouldn't take Kittle in the first round. I didn't take him in the second round yesterday. I let him pass me, I think. Yeah, he went 2 picks after my Jonathan Taylor in the second round pick. So Jonathan Taylor goes to the Kittle drafter. All right. That's an interesting start. I wanted to kind of feel good about, all right, Jonathan Taylor went at the 203. I got him at the 209 yesterday. I'm doing all right. But then it's the same guy that drafted George Kittle in the first round. Now, it's going to be a unique draft, but it's kind of like foregoing your first round pick. I mean, Jonathan Taylor could end up being RB1 overall by season then. But hey, he's done it before, so he could do it again. But George Kittle to me is an early third rounder in this format. I just think there are receivers that I expect to get more receptions than Kittle, although Kittle should be in line for increased receptions due to the fact that there are plenty of injuries there. All right, so 2 picks until it gets to me, is that right? Or 1 pick until it gets to me, and both of the running backs I like are on the board. Yesterday, I'm gonna do a Derrick Henry start here, or maybe not start, second. I do have another running back ahead of him in the rankings, but I think there's a chance that one might come back to me. I'm not positive I want to do that. I feel like Derrick Henry usually goes earlier than this, and yesterday he went at 201. So Derrick Henry is definitely not going to come back to me. The other guy I like that I actually have ranked ahead of Derrick Henry has been sliding lately. Now I haven't seen him slide to the 3rd round, but I got one more of these to do, and if it's an earlier pick, then I can grab him there, or later pick, or whatever. I can grab him next time. I should be able to easily grab Achane in the 2nd round next time. That's a nice start. Brock Bowers, Devon Achane. Wow, that's a good start. Like, that's a dream start. Devon Achane, oh shoot, he's got a little injury going on now, but it's not going to hold him out week 1 for sure. I can't even remember what the injury is. I'm sure they're more just taking precaution as well, but given full health, I have him right after Saquon in my rankings. I think right in front of Derrick Henry. But I feel like I will be able to get Achane in the 2nd round in my next draft, which I think is either next weekend or tomorrow. I gotta look. I totally forgot when I scheduled my 3rd FFPC tournament draft. All right, so what am I looking at in the 3rd? Just take a look at my little draft assistant here, my cheat sheets. Got the quarterbacks. Yesterday I took Lamar as my QB1 in the 3rd round. Definitely no need for running back. There's definitely a receiver out there that I think is falling for no good reason whatsoever. So, not afraid to go Lamar again or Josh Allen. Have I been rattling through the picks? I think I got stunned at George Kittle. It's about to be after my pick. I will start from where I left off in the 1st round with the picks. But I just want to kind of focus on what I'm going to do with this coming pick. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill. I should look and see if there's any news on him. I don't know if I can get to it quick enough. Updates on the weekends aren't exactly. Well, I guess they'd probably update on him pretty quickly. Juwan Jennings should be ready for week 1. Malik Washington looks good. When are these? And today about Tyreek. Where'd the draft room go? Gonna get him now. Really milk that clock for really no reason, but I'm streaming, so I get to do things like that. Hey, if you're watching, please give me a like, say something in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed, got those notifications on. All right, so first round, I think I left off at McBride, but I might as well rattle through them all. Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Brock Bowers, Jahmyr Gibbs. I took Christian McCaffrey with 5, Justin Jefferson at 6, Saquon Barkley at 7, CeeDee Lamb at 8, Trey McBride at 9, surprise George Kittle at 10, Nico Collins at 11, Ginty at 12. Second round starts off with Malik Neighbors and then Chase Brown. He's really been driving up lately. Jonathan Taylor. I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. Was able to get him at, I think it was 209 yesterday. He goes at 203 in this one. Then we see Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London go. I take Derrick Henry. Then Ladd McConkey goes off the board. Followed by Devon Achane, Bucky Irvin, and Josh Jacobs to finish out the second round. Feel like that's a lot of running backs, just in a little bit different order. Well, that's about standard. For the first 2 rounds, that's about. Oh, AJ Brown to start off the third. That's a nice faller. Like that one whole team has to be quite enthused by that start, being able to get AJ Brown. Then we see Kyron Williams go. He's been driving up boards a little bit more lately. But then again, I haven't been drafting a whole lot of FFPC, and there's a bunch of boomers here that just love grinder running backs. After that, we see Jackson Smith-Jigba go, followed by T. Higgins. I take Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's been falling because he's been quite a diva lately, but sometimes when you see major diva off seasons or preseasons, you see those divas backing it up during the season. So I'll take my flyer on Tyreek with the chances that he's a tournament winner. That's kind of what you're going for in these. You're going for first, not, just worried about winning your league. You want to stack up as many points as you possibly can. Following my Tyreek Hill, we have Omarion Hampton, Josh Allen, Travion Henderson. Both of those rookies have been dropped. Well, Travion Henderson made about the same jump as Omarion Hampton did a couple weeks ago. Then we see Lamar Jackson go. I'm still baffled by the fact that Lamar doesn't go first overall or first as the first quarterback. I know I have done it before, and I've seen other people do it, but so often and more often, Josh Allen goes first. Maybe I got to triple check on this, but Lamar's outscored Josh Allen every year they've been in the league. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. It'll get you going in the chat. After Lamar, we see Jaden Daniels go. than Alvin Kamara. I like Kamara much better in redraft than in best ball, unless he is traded to another team in the offseason. I just don't see him finishing out the season on the Saints. You know, just grab the hammy and limp a little bit, and they'll put you on IR and cruise into next season. Garrett Wilson at the 312. In this format, I guess, yeah. I'm used to other formats where he goes beginning of the third or middle of the third. I just got done talking about him, kind of advising a friend in a redraft league, and he somehow got Garrett Wilson, I think, in the 6th round. Oh, 10 teams, but definitely he said he drafted Cortland Sutton and then noticed, oh, wow, Garrett Wilson's still out there, and I have Garrett Wilson ranked much higher. After Wilson goes Kenneth Walker. Yes, Kenneth Walker is an explosive back that feeds into the best ball boom weeks. He's only practiced a couple times this season, hands full, less than 10 times this preseason. Last week, I'm pretty sure somebody said 4 times he had practiced. I'm not sure what he's been up to this week. I've been drafting and publishing and streaming way too much to even pay too close attention. But I've had a soft fade on Kenneth Walker. Like, if he falls to the later 5th round, I'm all about it. But top of the 4th is too early for me. I need to scope out who I want. I'll probably go receiver here, but there is a running back that I think has taken way too precipitous a fall. RJ Harvey goes. Yeah, 4th round, he's starting to go. I love RJ Harvey in the 5th. I don't know. I'm having a hard time because neither one of these guys is going to come back around. I should go wide receiver. There's a wide receiver I like right here that I was planning on getting, but there's a running back that has just been falling way too far. Receiver later. I'm going to get Breece Hall. Even if he sees only 55% of the touches in the Jets backfield, that's all he's going to need to pay off a 4th round. Now, maybe I should have checked yesterday's draft. I think he went a little bit later than this. I think he went at 411 yesterday. Actually, the wide receiver I want went at 407. So maybe I should have gotten the wide receiver, because this end of the draft did go RB heavy to start. So wide receivers are going to just fly off the board right there. Kind of should have looked at the turn there. Being at the 5 hole gives you a good read on what's going to happen at this end of the board. I left off at Kenneth Walker, right? After Kenneth Walker, to start off the 4th, Tatora McMillan goes. Bit earlier than I have him ranked, but totally get it. James Cook goes after that, then Jalen Hurts, Xavier Worthy, Marvin Harrison, RJ Harvey. I take Breece Hall, then Sam Laporta goes, Devontae Adams. Mike Evans is the wide receiver I had in my queue. He goes at 411. I really like Mike Evans this year. Like, no way he doesn't get double-digit touchdowns, and he could get 15 touchdowns. You know, he could get double digits in the first 6 weeks while Godwin's out, and Godwin isn't really a touchdown monster either. But Mike Evans is just going to get pelted with targets. And yeah, Igbokwe should be absolutely fine, if not better than fine. All right, so Terry McLaurin is probably a value here, but I'm not crazy about him. Oh, I do have Tyreek Hill, so this is my second wide receiver. I am a pretty big Devontae Smith fan. So it's Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin, Jameis Winston. I'm just going to bite my tongue on the other names in a prayer that they come back to me. I only have 9 seconds left. I really wanted to look at tight end. Nah. All right. Actually, I should look at quarterback now. Those 5 quarterbacks are going. Even Burrow. I understand getting at the 4-5 turn when you have Chase. Yeah, I get it. I can't really argue with that anymore. Yeah, on an underdog, a guy won't get him before the 6-7 turn. Actually, the earliest I draft Burrow is the 6th round, wherever I have T. Higgins. So, like, if T. Higgins falls to, like, say, the end of the 3rd here, I don't mind getting Burrow, maybe even later in the 5th, but 6th round is preferable. I just think that 4-5 turn might be a bit of a reach. So I want to keep a couple of tight ends on my radar, although I don't have quarterback yet either. Just kind of want to look that over. Miami, Philadelphia would be my stacks. Not going to happen there. I actually could stack Purdy with McCaffrey with Purdy. All right, probably going to hit 3 quarterbacks in the 8 to 12 round range. I need to catch up a bit at wide receiver. Just want to order these. All right, so sorry about that. When I talked about the draft, did I stop at Mike Evans? No, well, Joe Burrow went at 4-5 turn. In the 5th round, we see Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore, George Pickens, DK Metcalf. I take Devontae Smith. Then we see TJ Hawkinson go. Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Chuba Hubbard. I think that's too early for Chuba. Terry McLaurin, he's still not practicing with the team. To me, that unless he's still working out with the team on the side or something, I need to get a better report on that. But what he's doing is kind of setting himself up for soft tissue injuries in the near future if he just tries to jump back on that field. Or did he sign a contract? I need to really look at that. Sorry, folks. Just want to see. Yeah, all right. No date circled for return to field. I want to take that off of there just in case there's background music. Draft room. I'm about 6 picks away. Where did I leave off? Sorry. I get myself distracted pretty easily. Little undiagnosed ADHD over here. Chuba Hubbard, I feel like that's too early for him. I feel like there's like you could talk me into Chuba in the late sixth, seventh round. You could probably talk me into Chuba. I guess there's not a drastic difference between now and that, but if that was the 9 team, I would never have drafted 2 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. That's shooting yourself in the foot. That's wasting Trey McBride. All right, so after Chuba, Calvin Ridley, I like that pick. James Conner, Jalen Waddle, like that pick. Although I probably would have had to pass it up, taking my bets on Tyreek and not a team I would really want to stack. Tua doesn't kind of present enough upside for me in best ball format. Then we see Tyler Warren, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. He's been rising with the Tajay Spears ankle injury, which I just think is lowering Spears' value enough that if he continues to fall, he's falling in other formats. I'll look and see where he went yesterday. Then we see Rashee Rice go. I think he's I think Rice is, well, I don't want to say quality, but a solid pick in the 6th round. I really wanted Emeka Egbuka. Haven't been able to get him since he's been shooting up boards. Then we see Travis Hunter go. Oh, my favorites are just flying off the board. Oh, man. Oh, man. I had the wrong cheat sheet loaded. All right. So, tight end I like. There's receivers I need to get caught up on. I'm going to, whoops, wrong screen, clicking the wrong button. So, well, I got a few seconds there. What, sorry, not talking, thinking, streaming. If there's anybody watching that is actually in this draft, let me know, because if there isn't, I'd like to talk a little bit. Don't be sitting on the stream trying to get info from me while we're drafting. That just ain't cool. I'm gonna draft Zay Flowers there. Was trying to look and see what else was there. Yesterday, I went with, well, I'll talk about it when I see it. Let me know who's here. Let me know who's watching. Say hi. Appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, hit notifications. And if you have a draft coming up this week, a home league draft coming up this week, go to wheelrouteff.com and check out the cheat sheet I printed up. Should be good for most any half PPR or PPR scoring. I'm sure you know enough where you can adjust. If you're watching a stream on a Sunday afternoon, you probably are deep in the weeds and don't need it, but tell the other players in your league, hey, after you're done drafting, right? Yeah. Let them know where to find cheat sheet, all that good stuff. All right, so after I take, all right, so I kind of dropped off at Egbuka and Hunter as I was going through it. Isaiah Pacheco went before me. I take Zay Flowers. Really, I'm feeling behind at wide receiver. And earlier, I was listening to Evan Silva go nuts about how Zay Flowers is massively undervalued in drafts. So scoop him up to kind of get caught up and even with the wide receiver, fill out my flex, so to speak. After I draft Patrick Mahomes going in the 6th, I really like Mahomes in the 8th when I can get him there. 6th is a little rich for my blood, especially unstacked. Then we see Chris Olave go. Like Olave, not sure about his team, not sure about his health necessarily either. Ricky Purcell goes off next at the 6'11". ETR is pretty high on the what they're calling the shot demon. Proven though, right? Not quite sure if Ricky should be going this high, although Jennings is holding it out, holding in, claiming the calf injury. Not quite sure. Let me stop to maybe I'll come back to that. And then Ayuk is out, so Purcell should get many targets. See Engram and Njoku go at the turn. Tyrone Tracy, David Montgomery in the early 7th. Then Kelsey goes. And I'm just going to get the tight end I let go last round. And it's the same tight end I drafted yesterday is pretty much why I didn't draft him today. It's Mark Andrews. I just want to check. There's a couple receivers here that, there's one in particular I really like. But tight ends are starting to go. I have this tight end ranked. I have Mark Andrews ranked ahead of Hawkinson, really. And really close to that. Like, I have Laporta, Mark Andrews, and Hawkinson in the same tier. You could even tag Tyler Warren onto that tier. So I don't like to draft any of them until the 6th round, or in other formats, the 8th round. Even sometimes the 9th. But in this format with 1.5 PPR and the tight ends heading off the board, I think Mark Andrews, at least in the beginning of the season, is in line to get peppered with targets. Maybe I should switch where these boards are. That way I can stare at the board and talk to you. So my mic's over in front, well, now in front of the board. So I'll be looking at that more often. It's a little backwards for me, but I'll deal. I'll learn to deal. I want to I'll refrain from setting my queue. I do want my draft assistant over here, kind of switching up my style here, which could be beneficial actually. All right, so I'm looking at yesterday's board. That's today's board. All right, so after I took Andrews, Deebo Samuel, and Jerry Jeudy go, I have a couple other receivers I prefer. The receivers I like aren't likely to come back to me, but I don't want to completely give myself away either. So looking at the receivers in my queue, yeah, receivers tend to fall in this format, which is why, I say that and we're probably going to see a run coming soon. After Deebo and Jeudy, we see Colston Loveland go, Aaron Jones in the 7th. I prefer Aaron Jones in redraft. Don't know if he's going to stay healthy all season, although he has a better chance of staying healthy this year. He stayed healthy all last. Well, he played in every game last year, but they needed somebody to spell him. Cam Akers ended up doing it. There's a running back that's still out there that is paired with him now. So if they split touches and Aaron Jones sees most of the passing work, if not all of the passing work, he could be in line for a full 17 game season and quite a good year. Um, Having somebody else reliable in that backfield is actually probably beneficial to Aaron Jones. I got to make sure, but I should definitely put him in the Pacheco Pollard tier, if not creeping up on the James Conner tier. Aaron Jones can have pretty good weekly upside. See Roma Dunze and Jacoby Myers go, then Matthew Golden. Wide receivers are really disappearing from my queue. Don't want to see that. I need to feel secure and caught up at wide receiver. Why am I flipping around here? Yeah, maybe could have held off on Mark Andrews for, I mean, I'm going to get 3 tight ends at least, maybe a 4th, depending. I don't think he's still out there, is he? What am I looking at here? Oh, I'm getting tight end and running back mixed up. A lot of coffee today. Have been quitting coffee, especially during the week, because I think I get a little too hyped up and a little too let down when it wears out. And it was kind of messing up my system. So during the week, I will not be drinking it. Makes me a little bit more chill, but I do like the taste. So I splurged a little this weekend. Busy drafting and publishing. What do we got? Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted because I guess there are some receivers I can still get here. Stephon Diggs goes at that turn. I really wanted, Stephon Diggs is who I would have drafted had I not gone with Mark Andrews. After that, we see Baker Mayfield go. I should probably start eyeing up quarterback. I don't really have anything to stack yet. Tucker Kraft goes. Jalen Warren goes. Zach Charbonnet. Jordan Addison was really the last kind of... There's one other guy in my queue, and he is stackable later. It is my pick, huh? So I keep flipping to the wrong draft board. After Jordan Addison getting kind of, I guess it's not a snipe, but him going before me. Jordan Mason is the other running back I was talking about with Aaron Jones. But there is one other receiver in the queue, and maybe I shouldn't be picking him because he's holding out in, so to speak. But Jawan Jennings, he might all of a sudden be miraculously healthy for week 1. He's risking calf, hammy re-injuries. Hopefully he's getting plenty of PT and plenty of work on the side so that he can jump right in. Yeah, kind of what's left over. There's a couple other receivers I like, but I think after Jennings, it's really a tier break there. Just going to plug in the draft assistant. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm going to queue a couple of guys up. If you're watching, listening, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're out there. If you are drafting along against me, please let me know, so I don't talk too much. I'd rather not, give away all my secrets. Oh, I saw somebody. Nope. I see what's that. New to fantasy football. Oop, keeps on flipping out on me. I gotta. New to fantasy football, can register multiple times for some tournament, right? Oh yeah. It depends on which tournament. This tournament definitely. I don't know what the max is on this tournament, but this one costs 125 to get in. So, you know, most people won't be getting more than a dozen of these in anyway, except for those, you know, complete winners. After I take Juwan Jennings, yeah, we start to see a real fall off at running back. J.K. Dobbins, Caleb Johnson. Oh, Caleb Johnson's dropped a couple rounds now, so maybe not the worst 8th round pick going after Jaylen Warren now. Probably the right time for Caleb Johnson. Khalil Shakir. He's missed a lot of camp. Not quite sure. I have Keon Coleman now, I believe, ahead of Khalil Shakir. I had Coleman in my queue and not Shakir, just to give you a reference. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. All right, if you want to draft him where we were drafting Brian Robinson, okay, but I'm not going to touch JCM or Bill, as he likes to be called, until double-digit rounds. Brock Purdy would have been nice to pair with Jennings. There goes Dak Prescott. I should probably be looking at a quarterback. I don't really have anything to stack. Should I go balls to the wall or same amount of upside, maybe a little bit safer? Probably should go one. Don't know if I could stack. Yeah, ROKGOSU. I'd highly recommend, if you're just getting started out in fantasy football, go over to Underdog or Drafters. Underdog would probably be a good place to start. There's, you know, drafts as low as $3 sometimes. Lots of $5 offerings. All right. So, what just went? Javonte Williams just went. I see a quarterback out here with some value, but I only have one way to stack them. It's super late. I probably can. Same with the other guy, running quarterbacks. How many receivers do I have? How much time do I have? 24 seconds. All right. So I do have 4 receivers. I kind of like to have 5 here, but maybe don't necessarily need it in this format. I really don't need to draft a running back for quite a while. Not even looking there. I'm going to get a quarterback that I think has pretty high upside. Should have been taken already. Oh, crap. Did I just time out? I just totally timed out and took Josh Downs. All right. Well, probably getting quarterback next time around. Josh Downs isn't, I mean, PPR format, he's absolutely fine to be drafting there. Definitely would have liked a quarterback there, especially with JJ McCarthy going with the next pick. Travis Etienne in the 9th. These running backs that go now is, except for Zach Charbonnet, I really like Charbonnet. I think he's undervalued. But the rest of these running backs that go now, I'm happy to pass on. Jake Ferguson's pretty good pick. If I were, well, the guy in 3-hole already had Brock Bowers. I prefer Jake Ferguson stacked with Prescott, but Jake Ferguson is pretty good in this format, PPR. 1.5 PPR for tight ends. So he should get peppered with targets when Prescott is healthy. Pittman goes next. He is the big play version. And actually, Pittman should have a good year. I should probably move him up my rankings a little bit. At least he'll be healthier this year. That's step one. Pittman wanted, what's his name at quarterback? The guy they announced the starter. I don't draft him, so I can't. Daniel Jones. I grew up a Giants fan too, and actually bailed on the Giants when they drafted Daniel Jones way too early, in my opinion. But Downs and Pittman will probably both benefit from him early in the season, and then we'll see what happens later in the season with them. But that is why they are in the 9th round. After Pittman, Jaden Reed goes. Then we see Justin Fields. That was one of the 2 quarterbacks on my radar. Drake May. Actually, I would have loved to get him. Jordan Love goes. People pass on this quarterback. I don't think there's any way he makes it back to me. I'm almost dead set on quarterback, and I can bounce around, get 2 quarterbacks, and be quite happy. I'm in the 10th round now, and the plan was to get 3 quarterbacks between the 8th and 10th round. I really, really wanted one on the 9th. So I might go triple quarterback right here. I know I'm going to get sniped on my guy right the pick before me. There's no way I don't. He went JJ McCarthy. He's coming back with another quarterback. I'm dead in the water. After Jordan Love goes, Cooper Kupp, Wentz, Cam Scatterboo, Caleb Williams, Dalton Kincaid. Trevor Lawrence is one I was hoping to get on the bounce back, but is there some bad news on Kyler Murray that I'm missing? What? That's not going to have update. Do I have time? I can time out on this one too. If there's news on Kyler Murray, please share it in the chat. Why isn't he gone yet? Any news in the chat? Kyler Murray? Let me know if he's fine. Looks like he's fine. Probably have that in the background. Kyler Murray it is. Bingo. Whew. That was either the luckiest pick on earth or I'm missing something. Herbert, there goes the other quarterback I would have wanted next. I had a friend in my ear about another quarterback. Don't want to telegraph it, but there are a couple of wide receivers. There's one running back. There's spots where I could be grabbing running back here too. Ooh, and tight end. All right. Everything's starting to get in the same tier again. There goes a tight end I was eyeing up. Should probably... Did I say Justin Herbert is the other tight end I wanted, or the other quarterback I wanted? Dallas Goedert was the next tight end I saw. Joe Mixon in the 10th. Can't blame the guy. Although after going 3, he has 4. That's his 5th running back. Like, I think Joe Mixon is your 5th running back. Great. But you have no tight ends. All right. So his team name is Purple Helmets. He's got some tricks up his sleeve at tight end late. So I'm talking about the guy in the 2-hole that just went Joe Mixon as his 5th running back in the 10th round. I think that is way overkill. He does have 4 receivers. It's the no tight ends. All right, good. Jared Goff goes next. Just had a friend in my ear saying that he liked Jared Goff. New offensive coordinator. Spreads the ball around. Has plenty of targets. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe, you know what? I need to look up. I know he's probably projected fairly high. I don't know. I don't have faith in Goff. I never have. He does have the surroundings that quarterbacks dream of, but I don't know. Braylon Allen in the 11th. I feel like that's early, but I haven't looked at the running back column in a while, except for the guy I have at the top of it. Chris Godwin. I mean, he might be out. He might be out as much as 6 weeks, but man, the last 8 games, like when he's on the field, he just shreds. Definitely a couple wide receivers, but I think values at wide receiver start to go right about now, actually. Jaden Higgins goes. He's been falling lately. Luther Burden goes. That's a real good dart throw I like. Let me think here. Do I want to go quarterback? Probably should. A couple wide receivers I like. I am probably going to go CJ Stroud at quarterback. It's really like a plain Jane, and I don't have a stacking partner for him yet, but I should be able. I hope to get one. I would hope to get one on the way back, unless I go quarterback again. I'm just gonna grab him. CJ Stroud. I guess I could have gone tight end there too. Yeah. Let's see. And maybe I'm going to put one running back in the queue if he's still there. Oh yeah, that's right. He's here somewhere. There's 2 running backs that I kind of like. Kyle Pitts just went. Marvin Mims went before him. That's not one of the wide receivers I'm eyeing up. I mean, I guess Marvin Mims was probably the 5th wide receiver in my queue. And with autoing Josh Downs, I'm okay there. I'm okay at wide receivers in PPR. Although, I might want one more. I can really go anyway. I probably should go tight end, depending on how many quarterbacks go. Bashal Tutin, I like him quite a bit. He was one of the 2 running backs I have in queue. Just kind of setting that up. Oh, here we go. Why does it keep flipping out here? Depends on the tournament, but most, of course, yeah. Yeah, that's what I said, Kiss. All right, so I have 2 tight ends in the queue, a running back, about 6 receivers. There's a few quarterbacks here. I'll only go quarterback if they start to make a run. They might hold off here. Quinshon Judkins goes. I will speak on him when it's time for my next pick. I don't want to kind of give away some other things I'm thinking about, even though I might have just done that. Brian Robinson goes in the 11th. I like Brian Robinson. I guess this format, not quite yet. Not quite yet. I think there's a few running backs I would rather go for, although not a horrible pick. I think the Niners getting Brian Robinson pretty much nukes Isaiah Guerrero. Maybe not quite. If McCaffrey's out, Brian Robinson will get, let's say, first and second down duties, and Guerrero third down duties. So it kind of splits both of their value. I would prefer them in like that 13-14 range. So not too far off. Rashid Shaheed is one of those receivers. I'm like, what? How's he still here? Probably, well, I like Shaheed ahead of Mims, Burden, and Higgins for sure. Probably right now about even with Godwin. And in fact, like a Shaheed-Godwin pairing would be quite nice. Trey Benson goes after that. Good kind of hedge against Connor. Wonder if that'll team in the 11 hole got sniped on Trey Benson. Hunter Henry goes after that. He was a favorite of Drake May, but not so sure he's going to carry the same value this year. Although he's a nice tight end too, no doubt. Geno Smith and Cam Ward go, starting to make me nervous about quarterback. Although, yeah, just two quarterbacks that I kind of probably need to go quarterback on this next, just so I can lock in 3 and wipe my hands of that. Zach Ertz goes after that. I'm pretty tight end desperate here. But I'm just going to have to stack them at the end. Might end up with 4 of those. Jaden Blue, Austin Eckler go. There's still a running back I prefer to either one of them. I don't want to let quarterback go to this turn. There's 2 teams with only 1 quarterback, and they both just started drafting quarterback in the 9th. So, and I only have 2 quarterbacks that I think really have consistent, solid value. Yeah, everything else is Swiss cheese. So Cedric Tillman goes, I like Penix or Bryce Young. Just trying to think. It's going to be easier to stack Young, I think. And I don't see a drastic difference between the 2 of them. Just looking out, like, I see plenty of wide receivers here that I would really like on my team, but at this point, I need to concern myself more with stacking. Keenan Allen is one of those receivers I would have liked. Darnell Mooney, well, I guess I shouldn't talk too much, but if there's nobody here that I'm drafting against, I'm gonna talk about some players. I'm going to use selective reasoning there. All right. So there's a running back I really like that if he continues to fall, I'm going to forego wide receiver. But there's a few wide receivers. Don't know how much longer I could really let that go. With grabbing 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds, I'm only going to draft Well, probably I'll have 5 or 6 running backs depending on how late I go. It is starting to get later and later here. So Ramondre Stevenson goes in the 12th. That's about right. I'm blind to all other running backs after looking at the guy I really, really want. And it doesn't surprise me this guy is falling because he does fall, but I'm jinxing myself. I need to stop talking about this one specific running back. Draft receivers, people. There's plenty of good ones still right there. Oh, shoot. I need tight end. Ooh. Yeah, I need tight end. I'll end up with 4 of them, I said. There goes Brenton Strange. Let me just throw a tight end or 2 in my queue in case I get sniped somehow, some way. All right. Maybe him. Actually, if I go 4, then there's one I will very much like in particular. Penix goes. I'm shocked he didn't go. Well, after I took Bryce Young, Keenan Allen goes, then Tua. I can't say his last name. And then Ramondre Stevenson, Brenton Strange, Michael Penix, and Aaron Rodgers. Like to see those quarterbacks just ping, 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 go off the board. And, oh, you know what? Instead of Bryce Young, I should have gotten Tua. I mean, I have Tyreek Hill. That's how much I really am kind of not into the Tua thing. And who knows? Tyreek Hill may not be in Miami the whole season. Tajay Spears goes. I was blind to him. Definitely like that in the 13th round. I think he'll be back from his ankle injury. Listening while you clean the garage, I do that constantly. Although, how does the garage always end up never clean, right? Like, I don't know. I just think I just move stacks around and pay more attention to live streams. So I don't need to go running back here, but I think the fall on Dylan Sampson doesn't make sense to me. Dylan Sampson is going to get first shot, isn't he? Moving stacks. Yeah, moving stacks from one side to the other, right? Like maybe sweeping underneath. Yeah, that's a good way to get away from things, though. But as soon as this is over, I think I'm going to get outside, and I haven't done that today. I was writing an article, or retuning the draft cheat sheets. If you have a redraft league, some really good, I think, really good draft cheat sheets there. They kind of take ADP slightly into effect, but this is more of my projections, gut feel of what's appropriate in each draft. Some of the things I do are going to look like reaches, but I consider your home leagues and where people take, running back and quarterback in your home league and how that kind of falls out and falls through. I would literally go and do a draft of those cheat sheets and, draft by tiers. And I don't necessarily have the cheat sheets broken down into tiers, but if you look at the overall rankings and kind of the draft boards I put in there, I did a mock draft with these rankings. You can judge the tiers from there. But where was I? Dylan Sampson. I guess it's not good to stream when you got ADHD. Oh, and coffee. That's what I'm really going 19 different directions here. All right, so Dylan Sampson. Quinshon Judkins goes, well, it was an auto draft in the 11th round, probably even by ADP. So maybe not a good judge in this draft. Yesterday, Quinshon Judkins went. Let me try to find him. Sorry. Oh, he went in the 10th round yesterday, not an auto draft. He's not even signed yet. He hasn't practiced at all. He's a rookie. Dylan Sampson was not quite as highly touted, but pretty highly touted. Fell into draft. Landing spots sucked. That's why we haven't really heard much about him. Ford is there. They're completely displeased with Ford if they're going to draft 2 rookie running backs in the first 4 rounds. Dylan Sampson is clear path, runway to flight, takeoff from the jump. I may not need another running back. After I take Dylan Sampson, tight end Mason Taylor goes. I really only get him in stacks with Fields. Although he faked this out with a high ankle sprain. The reporters, we can't trust it anymore, right? Like, besides the general media market. Yeah, I could ramble on about that all day. They report everything as a high ankle sprain. That was clearly not a high ankle sprain. He bounced back in two weeks. That's a regular ankle sprain. Trust me, I've had a total of 19 of them, 14 and 20. I have also broken bones, have 9 screws, a rod, holding my fibula and ankle bone together. Yeah, story for another day. After Mason Taylor, Tank Bigsby. I like that pick. The last running back on Jacksonville is always a good pick. When they go Keaton Mitchell, wow, 13th round, 18th round Mitchell, long for those days. Christian Kirk is the wide receiver I really wanted to stack with Stroud, kind of leaving myself screwed there on stacks. Hollywood Brown I really like too. Jerome Ford goes, Ray Davis, Rashad White. Not sure if he's going to have a job coming back, or at least not the job he had before. Najee Harris goes like that in the 14th round. I think that's a pretty solid pick in the 14th round. Wan'Dale Robinson, like him in PPR a lot. Rashad Bateman, surprised he lasted this long. Ollie Gordon, creeping up as Jalen Wright gets poo-pooed in camp. Tyler Algier, solid backup running back. If Bijan goes down, Algier will skyrocket. Deontay Thornton has made his way up draft boards. Man, really regretting the fact that I didn't take Penix with Mooney still out there. Probably should be looking tight end. And only because I'm going to do the ever famous stacked cuff at tight end. So Todd Burrows made stack cuffing famous with stackable running backs in early, late rounds, or both in like 10th and 11th round. I'll talk about stack cuffs there. I tried in the past to relate that to wide receiver. There's very few handcuff wide receivers that are out there, but even fewer tight end stack cuff opportunities out there. Being able to get Mark Andrews in the 7th, I think that was a nice little round fall. And Isaiah Likely, early in the draft season before Likely gets hurt, he was probably going right in the Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts range. Likely should be back by week 2. Mark Andrews will see the bulk of the work with Likely taking a complete back seat. But this secures kind of a tight end one all season long. In best ball, I like it. Yeah, I need to fill in the week 7 bye. Can't draft another tight end with a week 7 bye. But what this does, it really allows me to wait until maybe the 18th, 19th round to get my tight end, like I did yesterday, I believe. Yesterday, I took Andrews in the 6th, likely again in the 14th, right around the same spot. I did get another tight end a little bit earlier than that, and that tight end is still out there. So, yeah, probably. Now I'm falling behind at wide receiver, but there's a couple PPR merchants, or at least one PPR merchant left out there that just went. Demario Douglas goes. Brandon Ayuk and Romeo Doubs went. Ayuk was on my radar. Doubs should have been. Will Shipley goes. I like that pick. He's been creeping up. Will Shipley is, I don't want to say Tyler Algier, but he's certainly a better pick than Rachaad White. Maybe Will Shipley is like the Ray Davis, kind of mirror image of Ray Davis. Ray Davis has Ty Johnson. I had Thornton in my head, but Ty Johnson is going to get the pass catching duties if what's his name? James Cook goes down. All right, so Demario Douglas, Darnell Mooney go, Xavier Leggett goes. Kind of just crushed my wide receiver queue. But out there, and probably more of an early season play than late season play, is your, and maybe I could have gone with another plain Jane, but with the Godwin injury and the other McMillan, Tampa Bay's McMillan, being injured and probably out quite a while. I know Egbuka's there, but Cade Otton has become that security blanket. Best ball on call. Yes, there's still, I still have him in my queue. Hopefully I'm going to get him next round. Don't want to jinx myself, although if there's anybody watching, they can absolutely read what you wrote. I got him in the 16th round yesterday, so if he's still there on the bounce back, which he could be, I mean, he was yesterday, I would get him there. But getting Otton is, I could have gone with Fannin too. I really do like Fannin. Otton was probably too much. All good. All good. All good. Really, it doesn't like, and this late in drafts, it just helps me diversify, right? But yeah, I grabbed him yesterday. Did I have? Yeah, I had Bryce Young yesterday as well. I probably should have gone Penix. If I had gone Penix, I might have gotten Mooney instead of Likely. But hindsight isn't even 2020. I was going to use that cliche, but quite honestly, not sure if I would have gone in any other direction than what I did. Or not sure it would have benefited me to go in any other direction than what I did. All right, so just looking at my stacking options later, and I mean, what my stacking options do is kind of take me away from other dart throws I like. When you got a back stack, that is kind of the price you pay by not. So it's the price I pay instead by drafting Bryce Young instead of Tua. That is really probably where I should have gone, although Penix was the other guy I was eyeing up. After I took Cade Otton, Jarquez Hunter, Daniel Jones, I probably Fannin would have been the upside pick. I'm playing it too safe because I feel like I fell behind. But Fannin would have been the pick, the upside pick there. Jonnu Smith goes. Taj Brooks, I really like him as a late round running back, but I've kind of put running back out of my head since I went so early with that. I might, like the last couple of rounds, go running back, but I need wide receiver. So I'm going to get one more tight end, no more quarterback, one more tight end, 2 wide receiver, maybe 3 wide receiver, and a running back. We'll see what's the last 2 rounds are potential running backs. Want to start to get my receivers. You know, I could push it at wide receiver. Heck, I could push it at tight end with a 4th one. And I might do that. Well, if Sanders is there, I'm going to take him. I think that's painfully obvious to everybody. And he should be the next in everybody's queue, really, honestly. Like, what are you going to do? Although, on the site, there are 2 tight ends that in the draft room ADP are going before Sanders. So if nobody's watching, nobody will snipe. All right, flipping around too much. After Fannin after I said Taj Brooks, Mike Gesicki goes. Rico Dowdle, can never pronounce that. Jackson Dart, like that in the 16th round. Think late in season he's going to be a commodity. Adam Thielen goes after that. Then Pat Bryant, Kyle Williams, Jatavian Sanders. I jinxed myself. I really wanted him. Nick Chubb goes. Not. So I'm going to secure a couple of stacks that might be reaches as well. But don't really care this late. Reaches aren't really reaches. There goes Trey Harris. He's really taking a fall from grace. I'm going to get Jalen Coker just to make sure Bryce Young is stacked with something. And then might do another reach wide receiver on the way back. Play it by ear. There is another. I still have, like, I could go with Dalton Schultz to get a stack, but that's where the K. Dotton pick was. I would have liked Harold Fannin there. Jatavian Sanders even would have been better. But I'm playing on the thought that K. Dotton could see a plethora of targets, even as late as week 7, where Andrews and Likely are on a bye, and may not have to go too much deeper than that. Couple darts still out there at tight end, though. Oops. Just looking at my cheat sheet for a little bit. All right, where did I leave off? Did I go all the way to my Coker pick? Yeah. After that, Woody Marks and DJ Giddens go. I like both of those picks. Oh, Woody Mark would have been a perfect stack. I need to look at running back too. I just stopped looking at running back. Yeah, that would have been a perfect stack with Stroud. That's what I get. But let me just need to take a quick glance at running back. Couple guys out there, couple dart throws. That would have been the optimal way to finish off running back as Woody Marks, because Coker would have come back. Dalton Schultz goes. Okay, so I'm going to take a flyer at tight end. next round, I think. Where is, all right, so that's the assistant. Yeah, there's a bunch of tight ends kind of just sitting there. I don't need to reach for this stack, although I just might do it. What's at running back? Not a whole heck of a lot. I do have an option at running back, though. I think he'll pass. I don't think Jalen Noel. Oh, what the heck just happened? Oh, no. That wasn't my pick. I'm not up yet. Going bonkers here, kids. All right. Kendre Miller. So where Woody Marks goes, DJ Giddens, Josh Palmer, Chris Rodriguez, Rashard Smith, Dalton Schultz, Kendre Miller. A lot of running backs at that turn. Would have liked to have gotten Woody Marks. Nothing is standing out at me at that position still. It's pretty depleted. It is pretty depleted. Could go that direction. I'm gonna just reach for my Jalen Noel stack with CJ Stroud. Should have gone Woody Marks. Jalen Coker still would have been there. Probably could get Jalen Noel next round. There is a running back out there that I should be targeting, but there's a couple others that are probably worth a dart throw that I would expect to come back. I really feel there's only a need for one more running back, especially with me reaching on those wide receivers. I do have a grouping of wide receivers that I think are not stacking material, but definitely nice dart throws that I will probably add one of them to this team. Oh, wow. Quite a few. Oh, I got to remember these aren't even my rankings in this draft room. Please keep chatting. Don't worry about selling me out at all. I like interaction, especially this late in draft. It's like, whatever. As you can see, I'm just dart throwing, reaching, stacking. Oh, there's one more stack I have to do. Definitely should have done him before the Jalen Coker pick. I did this quite backwards, forgot. Oof, rough back half of this draft. The Josh Downs timeout threw me off, but it shouldn't have. I should have been rallied back because I was going to get Kyler Murray anyway. It just, maybe that's it though. I would have gotten Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert. Would have felt a whole lot better about where I was at quarterback. Better stacking material, I think. But it is what it is. Live and learn. Get used to these things. I'm going to... Oh. Michael Wilson. Oh. Ooh. Not my pick. Why do I... Seeing things. After my Jalen Noel pick goes Tyler Shook, Anthony Richardson, Elijah Arroyo, Torrey Horton, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Pat Freiermuth. I like that Pat Freiermuth pick in the 17th round. Theo Johnson's a good pick there too. There goes Troy Franklin. That's one of the dart throws I was talking about, as were Torrey Horton and Keandre Lambert-Smith. I have a wide receiver I'm definitely taking next. If he remains, need to queue up a couple of tight ends though, because there is slim pickings left. Trying to think. Really just majorly concerned with a week 7 bye, but want to be looking for upside at tight end as well. Used to have Harold Fannin back there to save me. See a couple guys that'll probably start out strong, but don't expect them to end strong. All right, so here goes one tight end that might really, two tight ends that I could actually probably get in the last round. Really need to, yeah, I see a couple running back. I know what running backs have narrowed it down to. Just hoping this particular wide receiver, whose name I already said, makes it back to me. Don't want to repeat it. After Troy Franklin at the turn, DeAndre Hopkins, I also had as one of those sleepers. Isaac Tesla has really raised his draft capital with a good preseason. Darius Slayton is certainly a wide receiver that shouldn't be going this late, honestly. He's a best ball, deep ball merchant, should do really well. Juwan Johnson is the next tight end I had in my queue. But as I said about 8 picks ago, I forgot to stack Michael Wilson. So like these wide receivers would merely have gone Michael Wilson, Jalen Coker, Jalen Noel. Really, probably if I could do it over, I would have taken Woody Marks, gotten Michael Wilson in the 17th. Might have lost out on Jalen Coker though. So as it ended up, was able to stack all of my quarterbacks with a tertiary, quadrutiary, maybe secondary wide receiver in some cases. No, I guess Jalen Coker could out target. Look at. Although Thielen would have to go to Minnesota for that to really take place. Jalen Noel, back half of the season could be something. Christian Kirk doesn't match up to expectations or is just old and fizzles out. Jalen Noel should slide right into his spot and hopefully be a target merchant if he plays. Michael Wilson, deep ball guy, perfect for best ball, has a connection there with Kyler. All stacked. Kareem Hunt goes after that. Kyle Monangai goes. Darren Waller after that. None of those three were on my radar for either position. I want to X out these 2 wide receivers I still have on my queue. I am done with wide receiver, even though it is not the strongest position I have. I feel as though, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is plenty wide receivers. I am going to get a 5th running back and 4th tight end. Just some darts to be throwing, and really the best darts to throw, truly the best darts to throw, are at running back and tight end. They're the ones that pay off with being in your lineup the most often in baseball, best ball. Dart throws at, for real. I'm going to show something that might do the trick. Let's see. Just give me a minute. Let me take my pick. I do have access to another draft board that has slightly different colors. So I don't think, well, no, there should be, well, I have 3 running backs and 5 tight ends in my queue. 40 seconds left. Trying to gauge who I really want and what will come back. The running backs may not come back, but I'm wondering if I should go Roshan Johnson, Damian Pierce, or Trevor Etienne. Trevor Etienne might come back. Probably going to play the upside, possible upside in Roshan Johnson. I didn't get any rookie running back. That's Woody Marks would have been perfect. The other running backs, Damian Pierce had a pretty good game in that preseason game. Looks to be edging out Nick Chubb. Looks to be their first and second down running back, but I mean, I need a running back for later in the season in case McCaffrey, Henry, Hall don't quite make it there. Roshan was going like in the 15th round, maybe even 14th after Bigsby, but before Dylan Sampson, Tyjae Spears. Well, no, right around the Tyjae. No. After Tyjae Spears, after Tank Bigsby, definitely right around the Jerome Ford range. Everything's kind of mixed up now, but going ahead of quite a few other running. There goes Trevor Etienne. All right. Don't know if I gave that away to somebody, but Trevor Etienne probably going to get third down duties. There goes Damian Pierce. Glad I grabbed a running back and night at tight end, even though Terrence Ferguson was pretty high on that tight end radar. I did have one tight end ahead of him. I have 4 tight ends still in my queue, 2 of which I don't think ever really get drafted. Higher on one than the other, but the other fits. There's definitely a tight end out there that I think is the starting tight end on his team, but probably gets overtaken in targets by week 5 or so. Debatable when it comes back, but not surprised that Damian Pierce is back on people's radar with all the Mixon nonsense. I could see Mixon thing going 2 ways. I could see him not playing at all this season or playing week 1. I don't think we're going to get any sort of truth out of Mixon camp whatsoever. So let me show. So my draft assistant has a draft board. I'm going to show. Can I make that bigger though? Just to show that tab. Are those colors better? They're smaller though, right? Not sure if I can make that bigger. I probably can. But I like the other draft board while I'm drafting, just wondering if those colors are better out of curiosity. Probably not, right? Yellow messing you up. Then this is... So color's better on one, size probably better on the other. I tell you what, I'll when the draft is over, which is just a few picks away, I'll review the team on this draft board. Then I will review it again on the other one and try to make that screen bigger. See if that'll work for you. It's not something I can do consistently through a draft, but just because I have to flip like that's my draft assistant, and I have to refer to it quite often. It's just a Fantasy Pros draft assistant. I have my rankings. I literally have my redraft rankings loaded in there right now, and it's really just player value. It's my redraft rankings extended version for 20 rounds instead of like a 14 round plus kicker plus defense draft. But we only see one more tight end go. We saw Phil Maffa, Russell Wilson, De'Ami Brown, Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright, that's a fall. Jalen Wright's a value in the 20th round. AJ Barner. I do like an Antonio Gibson 20th round pick. I think there's, if Travion Henderson goes down, Antonio Gibson is still on the team and being used in the preseason. Tutu Atwell goes, Joe Flacco, Alex Pierce, Amari Cooper. I am torn between Cole Kmet, Michael Mayer, Gunnar Helm, and Cade Stover as a stack. I think what I have to do is go with Cole Kmet. Although Gunnar Helm and Cade Stover are back-end plays, I'm going to go Cole Kmet. Sure, he's going to lose targets by week 7. He might be relatively obsolete, but he's a pretty good tight end. And they might feature him early as trade bait. You know, imagine Cole Kmet on Miami. Then imagine that I had actually drafted Tua instead of Bryce Young and stacked with Tyreek Hill. Yeah, that would have been nice. The Cole Kmet going in the 20th round just doesn't make sense. Yeah, Colston Loveland's there. Yes. Luther Burden, I think, is going to be amazing. Roma Dunze's there. Of course, they just so many targets. So many, right? Cole Kmet is better at a receiving tight end, but now I think they'll just shift him to blocking tight end, right? He might be on the in preseason. He was certainly on the field more than Colston Loveland, but that could also be rest your starter deal, maybe not. But Cole Kmet got 7 snaps with the first team. Colston Loveland got 3 in, was it this weekend? I think Saturday, Friday. Forget which day they played. So there we go. After my pick, Adonai Mitchell went. That is a great 20th round pick. Looks like it was auto drafted, probably from pre-draft rankings, but maybe not. Quentin Johnson in the 20th. Great late round dart throw. With his concussion, he's kind of fallen off people's radar, but I have Quentin Johnson ranked ahead of my Jalen Coker pick and just about everybody that follows. Yeah. Ahead of quite a few of those players. Really, Quentin Johnson is a solid 16th round pick in my opinion. Then Trey Tucker goes, nice little dart throw there, probably not going to break out. Christian Watson with the last pick of the draft is interesting, but I wish him the best. He's one of those guys that same team. Wow. Same issue as running back Marshawn Lloyd. Christian Watson and Marshawn Lloyd have plenty of Christian Watson last year and had him in Dynasty. The other name I just said, blanking, Marshawn Lloyd, this year in early drafts, loaded up with him. In fact, early in the season, I'm talking through June, I still had about 30% Marshawn Lloyd. Hopefully that's down below 20% with all the drafts I've been doing, slow drafts. In fact, I'm going to flip over to some underdog drafts right after this. Let me go over the draft board. So my squad. In the first, I grabbed Christian McCaffrey in the 5 hole, followed by Derrick Henry at the 2.08, 2.08, 8th pick of the second round. Third round, I grabbed Tyreek Hill. Fourth round, could not resist some Breece Hall. Might have been able to let him slide to the 5th with the looks of things. Everybody going wide receiver. This end of the board went running back heavy to start draft, and everybody needed to make up at wide receiver. I end up with Devontae Smith in the 5th round as my second wide receiver. Would have loved a Mike Evans or George Pickens, even a DJ Moore. Not mad at a Devontae Smith. Has some high upside, very safe floor. Just needs to stay healthy. After Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers falls to the 6th. Zay Flowers has the Evan Silva endorsement, so happy about that. In the 7th, Mark Andrews falls. Really happy about that. Wide receivers not falling to me. End up with a Jawan Jennings in the 8th. Would have loved either Stephon Diggs or Jordan Addison there. Had them both on my radar in the 7th, but could not pass up Mark Andrews there. So Jawan Jennings in the 8th. Josh Downs was an auto draft in the 9th. Really wanted Kyler Murray in that 9th round. Ended up with him in the 10th, which really is like, haha, I win, right? Except for the fact that I think I would have rather had Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert than Josh Downs and Kyler Murray. Because coming back, instead of panic pick CJ Stroud, I could have gone Rashid Shaheed, and the Murray Herbert Shaheed pairing, tripling is, I think, much better than a Downs Murray CJ Stroud. I like Herbert's back stacks better than what I end up with stacking Stroud. Is what it is. Hard to stream and draft at the same time. Should be used to it by now, but c'est la vie. I have a ton of Bryce Young, hoping for good things for him this season. Get him in the 12th. Probably should have gone with Tua. Tua kind of just isn't really on my radar. Should have been, though, with drafting that Tyreek Hill early. But as I said before, not quite sure Tyreek stays with Miami the whole season. Was thinking about Penix there, too. And but Pitts had already gone. Like, if Pitts was still around, which, yeah, would have been shocking. Or if I had gotten Pitts in the 11th. And that's something I could have done, too. That Shaheed pick that I just said could have been a Pitts pick. Although, yeah, then I could have gotten Penix where I got Young, and stacking really goes forth there. Dylan Sampson, I'm still shocked that he's falling this late, especially when you see and consider some of the picks that go after him and even before him. Where did Javonte Williams went in the 9th? I was thinking, like, in redraft, I think Javonte Williams. I probably have I think I have Javonte Williams after Travis Etienne in my rankings, and maybe a couple of the other guys that go after him. But in redraft, with Jordan Blue, Jaden Blue having 2 ankle injuries in the preseason, the runway is just sitting there for Javonte Williams to, probably crash at the end of it, but possibilities are there. Anyway, I'm in the 13th, got Dylan Sampson, was pretty happy about that. 14th, I went with the stack cuff of Mark Andrews. Did that same thing yesterday and really was a double stack with Lamar Jackson there as well. For some reason, can't stay away from these Baltimore guys. Live in town just outside of Baltimore, just north of Baltimore. So maybe I've got Baltimore on the brain. Cade Otton was probably a pick I would have liked back. Would have liked Harold Fannin. Went with 3 stacking receivers in the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Although probably would have changed the order on them had I had noticed Michael Wilson was still out there. Definitely have him ranked higher than Coker and Jalen Noel. But maybe Coker's starting to really creep up boards. Jacob Sanderson has been on Jalen Coker since April drafts. And he has a clear path now with Carolina looking to trade Thielen. So after Michael Wilson, grab Roschon Johnson, talked about how he had been going in the 14th, 15th round range in early drafts. Some reports that he's not really impressing too much. Kyle Monangai looks good with the ball in his hands, but not so much in pass blocking. Their new head coach has never been sweet on Swift. Actually, I believe he got rid of him in both Detroit and Philadelphia in those stints. Could be wrong, could have that backwards, but don't have a heavy reliance on Swift. Although, at Swift in the 7th or 8th round, I'm all about. I feel like he's started to go a lot early. He's certainly a lot earlier than he was early in draft season and on other platforms. I was not on FFPC early in draft season. I was on other platforms, but finish up with Cole Kmet, and I talked about him kind of at the end and the other tight ends that I was looking at. If we want to look at another draft board here, I might be able to share this tab, and let's see if I can. Sorry, this is work in progress here. Let's see if this works. Probably not. Come on. No, it's not quite going to work the way I want it to. Yeah, just can't get that header and sidebar. I guess I can get rid of the sidebar, right? Yeah. All right. That certainly helps. Can't really get rid of the header. Let's go to the top. CMC, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews in the 7th, Juwan Jennings in the 8th, Josh Downs in the 9th, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. I like Kyler Murray. Would have preferred a slightly different quarterback room. Dylan Sampson in the 13th. I think a huge value. Stack Cuff Isaiah Likely in the 14th. Kind of second thought pick K-Dot in the 15th. Coker, Jalen Noel, Michael Wilson, 16, 17, 18. Roschon in the 19th. Cole Kmet in the 20th. Not bad. Not my greatest work of art. Here we go. Gonna flip over to Underdog. Slow drafts. Got a few of these. Have had this kind of in the queue for a while. Let's take a look. This team, Mayfield and May. I don't have anybody in the queue. Let me switch to ADP. So here we go. We see Roschon Johnson has an ADP of 188. Or no, of 200. There you go. 200. It's fallen to 200. I think so. The rankings I have in here are probably from like a month ago. But that goes to show you where he really was going. I guess that's the 16th round. Taj Brooks sitting there. I have 5 running backs. Let me get these running backs out of my queue. Don't see, I got Woody Marks here, which must have been in the last round, 15th round, it looks like. What do I have? What do I need here? I need another quarterback, like going 3 quarterbacks, and not so solid at tight end. I'll go with the 3-5-7-3, which is kind of my standard build, and maybe not risky enough to win these tournament style plays. But I can tell you the teams I've advanced, a lot of them only have 2 quarterbacks. but then they get to those playoff rounds and one of them's hurt and one of them has a bad week and would like to have had a 17th, 18th round quarterback thrown in there. And as I said earlier, the best value dart throws are at running back and tight end. I do have a stack I can pull off. I already have Slayton, as I said, nice late round pick. I got Slayton in the 16th. Surprised I didn't have Dart and Theo Johnson already set in the queue, although maybe it was because Dart has the same bye week as Drake May. So I kind of, but that's week 14. It's not the playoffs. It's to get into the playoffs. Let's see what else is out there. I could probably, nope, Fannin went. Sometimes I do a Fannin, Shadur Sanders stack to end a draft. Could go Daniel. Think about Daniel Jones. I don't think Daniel Jones makes any starts after the bye week. He probably lasts. I think Daniel Jones lasts as long as they have fewer than 7 losses. As soon as they lose their 7th game, Daniel Jones gets yanked. And that is saying that he stays healthy, which he hasn't been able to do as of the past couple of years. I'm really high on Jackson Dart. I'll risk it. I'll risk the biscuit in week 14. These picks are for week 15, 16, 17. They are, the Theo Johnson's the next tight end in ADP. I could go Jawan Johnson at tight end. But I don't like, well, I guess Tyler Shuck is still there. But you're gambling on him starting 15, 16, 17. Although it does seem likely that Shuck is week 15, 16, 17 starter unless a trade is made, say a Kirk Cousins is unlikely interdivision, and the Saints would want somebody young because they definitely need to look towards the future. They're not going anywhere this year. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's go. Jackson Dart. Oh, shoot. I don't have back-to-back picks. They're really close. You know what? Jackson Dart is fine there. His ADP is actually 2 spots ahead of Theo Johnson. And I already do have a giant stack there. So worst comes to worst, I end up with, I would go Jawan Johnson. I could go Freiermuth. Actually, could have done a Freiermuth Aaron Rodgers stack. I don't like Aaron Rodgers as a person. So, yeah, in that 17th, 18th round, that's not a reason not to draft him. And I have Aaron Rodgers stacks out there. I might have to mix in a Freiermuth Rodgers stack before all is said and done. But all right, on to the next one. Got 4 others here. Just I'll hit these while I'm here. But I will log off after these are done. I plan on possibly recording a redraft thing this evening, although tomorrow is the first day of school with students back. Yes, I am a teacher. That is what I have chosen as a profession. And not so, oh, there we go. We have a Aaron Rodgers stack here. I ended up picking him actually ahead of ADP in the 16th round. But more than likely because I was like, well, I've got Jalen Warren. I have DK Metcalf. Probably not going to draft another tight end. I do have Freiermuth kind of buried. This is the 18th round pick. And how many? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers. I'm definitely going with a 7th receiver. I have Fields stacked with Garrett Wilson. No need for the Josh Reynolds double stack there. Just that doesn't make sense. Same reason I probably passed up Mason at tight end. Only want to solo stack Fields. Although Braylon Allen is a nice kind of stack cut. Not a stack, but I always call it the ham and egg. With Justin Fields, the eggs, but you can also get your protein from some ham, and a backup running back to go with a mobile quarterback is something I like to do. All right, maybe enough rambling. Adonai Mitchell, it's not a stack. I think he could emerge as a big deal with quarterback. I was just talking about him a minute ago. Not Richardson. Daniel Jones at quarterback. Lots of slants and dump offs from him. Could go to Mitchell, although, we could end up with Anthony Richardson at the end of the year. Jalen Noel I talked about when I was drafting him in the FFPC draft. Jalen Royals was a better dart throw. Well, he's a really good dart throw when Rashee Rice is out, and more than likely Hollywood Brown gets hurt. Yeah, I might be talking myself into Jalen Royals, or do I want to double stack, kind of triple stack? The Aaron Rodgers pick with Roman Wilson. I think I talked myself into Jalen Royals as my 18th round pick. Let me just check. Bye weeks, yeah. Week 10 bye. Don't have any week 10 bye. Oh, knee tendonitis, not a big deal. Hollywood and Rashee Rice are going to be there at the beginning of the season anyway. Jalen Royals is an end of the season dart. I like it. All right, next one up, Pomeranian 2. I got Lamar and CJ Stroud. Probably won't get a third quarterback there with Lamar, my kind of bareback pick, and CJ Stroud, a double condom pick. High ceiling with Lamar, solid floor with Stroud. Devon A-Chain, RJ Harvey, Zach Charbonnet, Bashal Tutin. Really, really like that running back room. Upside, 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 upside. Floor. But rookie, so upside. Wide receiver room, looks like I need at least one wide receiver. I have Baltimore, Houston stacks in that queue. Baltimore, another that, I don't need a 6th running back. But man, Keaton Mitchell fits right in there, doesn't he? I don't know why I have other running backs in the queue. Let's see. So if I go Keaton in the 16th, take a look at the draft board here. Draft board here. What am I looking for? What am I looking at? Oh, my next pick's 200 and 209. Jalen Noel should last until the 18th round, more than likely. Do I have Stroud stacked with anything else? Make sure. I really need, not need, but like to stack. The idea for me is to get, sorry, finishing thoughts, not Easy. Ooh. I kind of want a third tight end, and Harold Fannon's sitting out there. So, if I want both of those wide receivers, oh no, I do have Jaden Higgins. I do not have any need for Jalen Noel. But what this also does, I would love Keaton Mitchell, DeAndre Hopkins, and Harold Fannin to be my picks, but one of them won't be there in the last round. Where am I? I'm at pick 185. Keaton Mitchell is hands down the right pick there. But I absolutely do not feel the need for running back. This is a slow draft dilemma. So technically speaking, I really don't need Jalen Noel. Now that I look at it, I have Woody Marks as the stack. That's why I drafted him ahead of Keaton Mitchell last round. Jaden Higgins is also a stack with Stroud, so he's good. Jalen Noel, if he's 20th round and the other guys are gone, so be it. I can only get one of DeAndre Hopkins and Harold Fannin in the next round. Such a dilemma. I have Lamar stacked with Likely, would like another stack with Lamar. Both Keaton Mitchell and DeAndre Hopkins give me that. I'm going to go with Hopkins. I'm going to have a dilemma on my hands if Keaton Mitchell is still there next round. See what other tight end. There's nobody that matches the ideology of Harold Fannin, but I could also do a 20th round tight end, which there probably will likely be plenty of options. Theo, Juwan, Komet, Ferguson, Taysom Hill used to be there. I really feel as though Taysom Hill is going to play the back half of the season and put up like 2 or 3 like 20 plus point games. But I heard probably while I was buzzed quite a bit and don't remember where I heard it, but I know I heard, unlikely he plays at all this season from somewhere, and it's really made me nervous. See, now with Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, I should go just 2 quarterbacks, but I know so 18th round I might get a third quarterback. I do have the Hurts Love pairing quite a bit. Something to do probably with draft order, draft position. So mixing in a third quarterback there, probably a good idea, especially because Jalen Hurts past 2 years maybe 3 now, has been out 2 of the 3 week, 15, 16, 17 weeks. Really hurts you in the playoff run. Jordan Love was out or played pretty damaged most of last year. Only have 3 running backs. Need running back. Really need running back here. 6 receivers. Can throw in a dart later. Really don't need a third tight end, so that might be a last round stacking piece. Let's look at ADP. Najee Harris has fallen to the late 14th, almost 15th round. Has a current ADP of 160. I am at 167. Really hard to resist that, except when you consider the other running backs that are still available in this range. Philly, Green Bay. No, I want to save. Well, Philly, Green Bay, I can do. All right, So Vegas is not an option. Certainly Atlanta is not. I could do an Indy stack later, but I might. Yeah, I kind of have that Giants stack in mind, round 16, 17, 18 with a Slayton, but I could do Wan'Dale Robinson here too. Could do Wan'Dale Robinson in 14th. And one of Najee, Shipley, Ollie Gordon, Woody Marks, Keaton Mitchell. Or I could grab 2 running back here, lock that down, wait for a Darius Slayton pick next round. Should be there. Yeah, should be there. Wan'Dale I prefer in full point PPR. But I guess take bye weeks into consideration. Shipley has the same bye. Najee doesn't have it. Najee is kind of a chaperone condom pick, but like here in the 14th, not bad. I heard somebody mumble this morning about if he's going to play this season. I think if there were any, Harbaugh did say things about praying for him. I don't see Harbaugh as being anything honest anyway, so it could be all a ruse, quite honestly. Complete ruse, where Najee just stands on the side while reporters are there, but in the main part of practice, not open to reporters, is active with all of that. Do I want Najee? Question is, I'm going to take a look at all the receiver tight end combos. Actually, I should be throwing quarterback in there too. Could start a Pittsburgh stack. Now, I really like doing that Giants stack at the end if that's what I want to do. Do have Indianapolis as a backup plan. I'm going to go Wan'Dale here. He had crazy amount of targets last year. Forget exactly how many. But all right. So what I generally do is set up my queue. I know the next 2 rounds I'm really going to be focused on running back. And I know there's a couple down here that I really should be, like Rashard Smith. Didn't grab enough of him early, and he's still falling. I mean, Trevor Etienne is super, super low. But then the quarterback and tight end, I'm really focused on Jackson Dart, Theo Johnson, Harold Fannin. I don't need tight end. It's just that I like these plays late, so I'm not going to reach for any of it. So if I go like with a Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, I like Anthony Richardson in the last round in these still, and I have too much Anthony Richardson. Really should just stop drafting him altogether. But if he's I would say Anthony Richardson is more likely to start weeks 15, 16, 17 in this format than Daniel Jones. I would like to hear arguments against that train of thought. Drop it in the comments. All right, so I have 3 quarterbacks in this one: Herbert, Fields, Penix, Chargers, Jets, Atlanta. Need one more running back, although I do very much like my running back room. Looking at 2 more receivers. Yeah, unless there's super stacking options. Let's see. I don't think I have Herbert stacked. So Chargers, Jets, Atlanta. I think this is so I got the Atlanta stack. I don't have Chargers and Jets stack. I can stack a Jet in the last round. Quentin Johnson is there. Let me shift this to ADP. Quentin Johnson should make it around the turn, theoretically. But while Najee Harris is there, so is Shipley. Let me uncue that. I must have queued that up a while back. So I don't need running back really at all right now. And there's a bunch just sitting there waiting for me. Justin Fields, I can stack last round with Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds is the wide receiver 2 in New York, as far as we know, right? I guess there's Mason Taylor. I do need tight end. Is he still here? Yeah, he is, but he is. Oh, he's one spot ahead of Quentin Johnson in ADP. So I only have one tight end. I might only need 2 altogether. Certainly Pitts isn't around, right? That would have been a nice stack with Penix. I have Mooney, so he is stacked, and Bijan. So Penix is really double stacked, especially considering Bijan will be catching balls out of the backfield. Penix is much more of a pocket passer than he appears when you don't profile. All right, so I think Mason Taylor is the pick. I know there's running backs I can get super late. I have more of a need for tight end. Although stacking Fields isn't nearly as important as stacking Justin Herbert, most people are shying away from Quentin Johnson at this point. Anyway, as we saw in the FFPC draft that I did earlier, let me check that draft board. I'm putting it back over the other side. Quentin Johnson went in the 20th round of an FFPC draft best ball that we did just moments ago. Although it is tight end premium, so wide receivers get pushed back. Anyway, I feel as though Quentin Johnson will certainly make it around this turn, right? Yeah, I should have double thought about that. And in all honesty, that's a super reach. I can get a last round tight end and be, although I am passing up on Keaton Mitchell, Woody Marks for Quentin Johnson. I'm going to have to let running back go. There's plenty I like. DJ Giddens, Taj Brooks, maybe a Sean Tucker. Bashard Smith is somebody that hasn't been falling in my zone. Just going to queue those up. All right, good stuff. Going to slide Josh Reynolds back below all of them because he will be a safe last round pick. There we go. All right. What do I got left here? Am I all full? I'm all full. All right. Just going to go back to share the draft board from the FFPC draft from earlier. I'll go over my team once again. From the 5-hole, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Jawan Jennings, Josh Downs, Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Dylan Sampson, Isaiah Likely, Cade Otton, Jalen Coker, Jalen Noel, Michael Wilson, stack. Roshan Johnson, maybe. Cole Kmet, maybe. Dart throws, Ooh, both Chicago. Am I stacking that with anything? San Francisco? Juwan. But that's a strictly week 17. Oh no, this is round by round, but I don't think the final is quite as big as some of those bigger tournaments. Anyway, have a great rest of your Sunday or Monday if you're watching this, whatever day you're watching this. Have a great rest of your day. I'm back to school tomorrow. Tell your students to be good to the teachers. It's a lot more stressful than it looks. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, visit wheelrouteff.com. Turn on your notifications. Deuces.